For closed session, 6A is. Yeah, we have a new hire custodian classified Trinity Valley. New hire food specialist 1 classified Trinity Valley. New hire secretary classified 205. Increase in hours, recycle business classified MTO from 6 hours to 7 hours. Rochelle Duncan, I'm sorry. I had it for you. Resignation, instructional assistant, severely handicapped classified L. Resignation teacher certificated, Trinity Valley. Resignation payroll clerk confidential, district clerk. Yo, that was tabled, and we decided not to do that one. Termination food service classified L. Retirement teachers certificated, Orleans. Coach traffic field certificated, Trinity Valley. The motion to approve KTJUSD, the personal action list for May 2025 with the removal of superintendent's resignation and payroll clerk resignation by Kelly made the motion and Trustee McLaughlin second. Motion passed.
Thank you, Dana. That brings us to the consent agenda. And we both assume they've overnight field trip. So this will be for the commercial warrants, pay for district expenses. We pull the commercial warrants, pay for our associated student body. We'll do that separately at the end of the action item. Those are the end of the action item agenda. That is also approval for additional students to attend the High's choir field trip to Santa Clara. Those are the only 2 items on the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion? I have a motion made by Trustee Holgrove, seconded by Trustee Gray to approve the consent agenda with items 8B and 8D. That brings us to the action items. '23-2024 financial audit as required for an external audit of the district.
Good evening, I'm here for you guys to assess our 23-24 audit. Our audit, the scope of the audit is to examine our financial statements, our state and federal program compliance, our attendance records, and internal controls. It ensures funds such as those from the local control funding formula are used appropriately, especially for higher needs students. The process is that we have an independent certified public accountant that's approved by the state controller's office to conduct our audit. The key focus areas are financial health, proper expenditure tracking, compliance with educational laws, and accurate reporting of data like average daily attendance, which impacts funding. It may also apply to issues like mismanagement or fraud. The outcome, the findings can lead to corrective actions. Repayment plans for misuse funds or penalties. The audit promotes sound fiscal practices and protects public resources intended for student benefit. This process is overseen by multiple entities, including the State Controller's Office and the California Department of Education, ensuring a standardized approach across the state school. With that being said, we our audit, our total net position in our district for this year is 94 million. What page are you on? I'm sorry, I'm on page 8. Page 8. So this an overall district as a whole. Our total net position, I'll say again, is 94 million. And they go through all of our financial systems that we have in place. they put out, the state puts out an audit guide. I did not bring that audit guide, so there are certain areas that they do key in on to ensure that we're properly addressing processes and that we are doing our due diligence to maintain the health of our district. So once we get through the audit, we get to the part where we find some findings, and that is where we submit for our corrective actions. And in regards to our corrective actions, we go to page 86. We have a total of 6 findings in our audit. I can better address the one audit finding that is within my department, and I can speak to that. The other 5, I will somebody not them, or I will try to answer the best that I can. So our first audit finding is audit adjustments. And the general fund balance was overstated by 1 million as of June 30th as a result of the following. Now, the 1 million does not match what the audit has stated below. So there was a little bit of discrepancy, a little bit of back and forth with our auditor and our county office. So our county office provides us information that we then put in our ending balance. When we upload all of our information, we start uploading our information as of now into an audit portal. Once we've got information from the county, it's uploaded into the portal. As of February, we were asked, because our ending balance has shown differences. So we requested another copy of the statements from the county, and they were off. So at that time, they weren't, they did not communicate as to why the county had a different number as to what we originally received from them. So based on that, this is what we did come to a conclusion. That was just on one of the items below. The cash with fiscal agent was understated by 73,000. That was from our interest from our COP. So we paid our COP, we did not post that. So that is an audit adjustment. It doesn't mean we owe, doesn't mean that we get it back. It's just an adjustment to our monthly balance. Cashier County Treasurer was overstated by 91,000. So the county provided the information from the actual county treasurer. And again, that information was uploaded into our system when they requested another copy after they took our records at the end of the year. It was inconsistent. So I do have an email from our county, from our auditor to our county office, trying to get some clarification as to how does that happen? How does this district get different numbers as to what is being provided? The accounts payable was understated by 937,000. That was a payable from 2021. That was one-time funds that we received. It was a 4-year grant, our ELO, and we did not set up a payable. So we overstated, or excuse me, we understated by that amount. All of these have since been fixed and complete. All the adjustments have been made. The unearned revenue was understated by 81,000. That was a 2023 error. The county had placed our revenue for our needed education account into an object code of 8699. Local revenue should have gone to the state revenue of 8290. To provide our email, we went back, let our auditor know it was never fixed on the counties, and therefore it's not a company. So in regards to that, I'll be working a lot closer with the county and ensuring that the information that we are provided is timely, accurate, and double checking everything that they're posting to our accounts. The non-major governmental funds for ASB cash and banks was overstated. That too was an overstatement, and we did an audit adjustment. Again, that was for 2023. We did an audit adjustment. Our county said it doesn't match our beginning to our ending balance, and therefore they asked us to reverse it. So we reversed it, ending up with an audit finding again. And so Again, I'll be working closer with the county office, and we have to remember that our county office has a turnover of individuals and their staff. The county used to post all of our audit adjustments. It wasn't until in 2020, when we moved into a different system, that they no longer are posting any of our adjustments, that we are now responsible for that. So with the guidance from them, we're getting our guidance from them because they used to do it for us. And here we are. So just working closely and ensuring that we don't have that again. And then that, I can speak on behalf of that finding, the other findings that you do see on page 89. 91, 94, 95, 96. That's out of my mouth. You might oversee those other findings. For sure.
So the ASB funds, how would ASB get overstated by that?
So what happened with it duplicated the amounts. ASB was never in our funds. ASB was always a separate category altogether. In 2020, we were told ASB, we now have to document the ASB account in our fund account. So it's actually a fund 08. And so when we ask for monthly bank reconciliations, we ask for, there's a spreadsheet that Ms. Bailey has provided from the county to each secretary and or principal that they're supposed to provide on a monthly basis, so that they're keeping track of their expenditures, their revenues, and then in turn, it gets turned into us monthly. We put it into our spreadsheet by month. We then make those entries at the end of the year. And so that just came into play. That's brand new. Like I said, we've never had the fund 08 until 4 years ago. And so that was a duplication, how it was overstated. Because it was brand new to the county as well. County rolled that out to us. So we all were learning together. And then I do have a separate management letter on 99, page 99, and this one is a separate letter that is letting us know that there are some internal control issues at the high school, and that it's outlined on its own. And this is the second year in a row that they're addressing it separately. So that's something that you guys can read over if you'd like. Talks about their observation and the recommendations.
Do I have any comment on this item? Or do you guys have a question? Hang on a second. You have another one, Martha?
I do, so
Give us the page you're on.
I'm on page 98, so we were, so you're back to the 248,990, that's for 23-24.
That was 22-23. That was, they put down what our audit findings from the previous year. It's an automatic thing that goes into our audit.
So we have a 2 years ago?
No, that's the audit findings from last year. They'll always put in previous year's audit findings for your information.
Oh,
So no, it is not another finding.
Is it being launched? Because I think that we're going to be creating organizations.
You have to address that with the superintendent and the people's office. No, yeah.
Any other questions? Board members, Jerry?
Okay, so on the, one of the ones that you
Give
give
us a page
page
number, give us a page.
well, when I get it. It's the condition during enforced engagement. On the adjustments, probably not these that.
That was the previous year's audit.
The temporary one.
So it was previous years, I would not address that, it was already addressed in the previous year's audit.
So the $49,595 was the previous year's.
Yes.
They always do. Previous years in there. So this was. That's the one that.
The 22-23 audit is used this month and then. Those are last year's findings.
So can you like explain to us like the difference, I put it here, but the material weakness versus others, because these are all material weaknesses in the findings. A or 146.
Page 84.
There's, yeah, 84.
So the material weaknesses are outlined in each of the findings.
Right.
So if you look at that, I can read it for you if you like.
Well, I've got it here, I'm just, all of the ones that you just did. These are all 24, right?
It's a material.
2, 03, 04, and 06, those are the findings, right? They're all material weaknesses. And in, material weakness in internal control or compliance is a deficiency or combination of deficiencies in internal control over compliance such as that there is a reasonable possibility that material non-compliance with compliance requirements will not be prevented or detected and correct on a timely basis. Are you saying that pretty much the county office is the one that?
I work with the county office to get my numbers at the end of the year. No, I'm not blaming the county office because what I'm saying is our numbers are reflective of what the county provides us. We have to do our due diligence in order to spot check what they're posting to our accounts as well.
Okay, so
Our weakness was that we trusted what the numbers we had. I should have dove a little bit further. Yes, too far. It's not a loss, it's not a gain, it's just a reflection that I need to ensure that so I'm gonna have to become my own self, my personal self, and that is going to be, I don't trust anything. So now that this has become an audit finding for twice in a row, I'm gonna be a little bit fierce in my attempts for information.
and it says that, okay, so you said it doesn't make anything less or more, right? No.
It's just our financial statement, because
But
we
it
did,
says the general fund balance was overstated by $1,038 or $457, whatever it was, as of June 30th. And it's those things that you, yes, like those 1, 2, 3, 4 things.
it's because we didn't, on the one, we didn't post a payable. We didn't post a payable in the amount of $937,000, that was for one of our resources.
So I don't understand. Okay, so
And that's probably an understatement statement.
we didn't post payable.
We didn't post a payable from 2021. It wasn't until this last year that the state said, you're gonna have to pay it back. Well, by then, our books are closed, okay, so we have to make the adjustment to that.
What was it that we had to pay $937,000?
It was one of our one-time funds and it was our ELO money. Our emergency.
Why would we At about $937,000.
Well, we have plans that were approved that were specific to certain things that the district apparently weren't able to either staff or, I mean, majority of it is staffing. So at that time, you have to remember, we received about 12.5 million in one-time funds, which was COVID funds. It also included summer school funding. With that, this particular fund was for after-school programs. It was for summer school, extended school years, specific to certain areas where you could spend. The plan was in place. There was no resources to provide the services to any of the students. There was, we talk about it all the time. We don't have staffing. That may be part of it. I can't speak on why that was not. That's my only assumption is that.
Who does watch out for those kind of things? Who does, in our district, who watches out that we have a lump sum of money and it may go back? Who watches that?
So
Can I
that,
ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt, but is this during Jen Bliss time?
yes,
I still don't get it. Who watches out?
it would be the superintendent. And
Superintendent,
staff, if you're a superintendent, it would be
No,
that.
there's a bunch of money to go back. How does the superintendent know?
Because I provide the superintendent, I have discussions with the superintendent.
So you do watch it, you watch it,
Absolutely.
and you make the superintendent aware.
Absolutely.
But we sent back $937,000, we spent back
I'm not spending, I'm not spending.
$360,000 last month.
Yes. But we did spend $11 million during that same time frame.
Doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't make me feel
Well, your
better that
discussion-
it's
well, your
spending back
discussion-
$1 million.
Well, your discussion needs that you had, not with me, but we ended up, it would be to, some is the superintendent over that, many issues with that.
Wasn't for the $360,000. Last month that we sent back. I
Maybe have discussions with.
There's plans that are made and it's proposed how it goes. I have no right. And being those.
Provide the information.
So are you telling me that if you make Jennifer or whoever the superintendent is at the time, that's the process. You see it, you see that it's not spent. And you go to the superintendent and you say, hey, yeah, but it's not money and this is how you can.
Well, how it normally would work would be this way. So when a plan is brought to the board, when a plan is in place, as far as I'm aware, the plan is written by a committee of people. It could be your stakeholders, it could be your superintendent. It's not one person writing a plan. It's a bunch of people. A bunch of people are involved in that plan. That plan then goes to the board. That board then approves it. That plan should have been more likely given to the administrators at the school sites. The administrators at their school sites, the stakeholders know what they want to use money for. That's why they have an interest when they create a plan. Their interest, their discussions are there. They're fully aware of what is in those plans. And as far as, how it's being dispersed out there,
But you get down to the wire,
you're asking me to like a superintendent and say, hey, this is what I need all you folks to, you're asking me to do a position that I am currently not. So I provide the information. I provide the information, the do's, the don'ts, the federal guidelines on how things are to be spent, how the plans are. I provide all that information. That is my position. As far as me telling everyone how they need to spend that money, that is not a.
I'm asking you.
That is what you're saying, that you're not asking.
Come down to the wire and you see a lump of sum of money, $360,000 that is gonna have to go back. Do you go to Jennifer or Jennifer would be the one, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to go to anybody else. But the superintendent, you go to the superintendent and say, hey, yeah, there's like $360,000, it's not been spent. Whatever, whoever's responsibility it was to spend it, whether it's the admin or whatever. And let her know.
I do a budgeted option, I do a first interim, and I do a second interim. I work very closely with our superintendents when it comes to our numbers. So that's all I can say to that.
I did try to coordinate whether they like the big heads up that we were gonna spend that $360,000. This other.
I can tell you out of the $360,000, about $260 was allocated for after school tutoring for our certificated staff. It never happened. How is that? How am I supposed to break that to somebody? That's not my role, Terry.
To the
Here's
board.
your numbers, here's your plan, this is the copy of the budget. I provide that. I provide financial statements every month and the reports. I'm providing the information. I am doing what I am supposed to be doing. You're asking me to be stepped into a role that is not my role.
You're asking us, you're saying that if I see the budget, you're supposed to pick through it and say, oh, we have $360,000 that may go back or may not. That shouldn't be on the board to have to.
I didn't say it, I did not say it, you're asking me if anyone knows. So I think I'm done, Lori, with this discussion because I don't know what else to.
I know what to say.
Well, can we wait till we're just about to say more until we're doing?
I just want to know who's responsible. I mean, she asked a question and what the answer. In the end, who was responsible, they're not grants, compliance officer or something, you need to look at. You're sending that much money back. In the end, it stops with you guys. So in the end, it is a board's fault, I'm sorry, but I really feel it is. Either that is, grants compliance officer, you're sending $1 million back. And how we're going to money was sending back, they make cuts to children. And we don't have enough houses, we don't have to pay for our kids, we're getting different money back. Somebody paid it. Not saying you, I don't know you, somebody paid.
Well, I know I didn't get that.
And I think that's really important to look at that, if we're spending $200,000 back because we can't get money, we can't get staff to tutor, that's.
Still pay reasonable.
I'm not saying staff, I'm not saying staff, I'm saying we can't get the bodies, we can't get people.
Still pay reasonable wages.
We have any other board questions? Any other, your name, please?
Yeah, Luke Parker, I teach here. And we have a county next to it, this county, and we have a school there called Junction Elementary. And they had BLO funds, and they go on snowboarding trips. They don't need people to hire to go on snowboarding trips. They take families, they encourage kids to come to school, they have fun. It was the biggest no strings attached grant we had. They buy greenhouses for their garden. They have summer programs like every day of the week for kids who are bored here during the summer. And we could have spent that $900,000, I guarantee. And you should be standing up, if that's your job, saying, we have this money, and telling all the board members. And it's a travesty.
Kim, for the last 2 years that I can recall, there has not been some with certificate staff, with certificate staff. It's only been ACE staff. And I personally cannot recall being offered after school tutoring money. Or any kind of plan, how I can help students after.
I use my cell phone for after school tutoring.
So, I mean, that information is not getting disseminated to the people who actually certified.
It was COVID months, and I think that it was Jen, like, and the only reason I'm speaking to it is because I was here at that time. And during that time, she had offered, after school tutoring for staff to stay after school in their classrooms and tutors, that was set aside.
I'm referring to the EL. Not. Yeah, that's information.
That's not the 900. That is the 900 that is out. I'm talking about the 900. You're total. That's in that.
They spent that money last winter, a few months ago. That money was not, that didn't go away when COVID stuff as far as it was unrestricted. It was like, that's the kind of money you could have.
Go ahead. Is the letter that was the audit summary, is that going to be addressed? It was separate than this audit report.
I think she mentioned it.
No, it wasn't. I read that, that was in the board packet, the letter that's not.
Oh, I don't, that is the letter, that's dated on March 14th.
Did the board have any comments about the, like the significant risk with the management controls?
That, let me say that, another district may have the ability to override the control of the district.
I can't hear you, Scotty.
We identify that as a significant risk, the management of the district may have the ability to override controls that the district is implementing. Management may override the district's control in order to modify the financial records with the intent of manipulating the financial statements to overstate the district's financial performance or with the intent of concealing fraudulent transactions. This was flagged as a significant risk.
No, there's a letter from the audit, it's not.
Yeah,
If you want the copy, it was in the audit, it's the last page.
The audit summary is about 30 pages long.
No, it's not that, it's a letter at the high school. The letter that's addressed to the high school.
No, I'm talking about something. That is not, there's in that, just. There's a significant margin between risk and. No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is. No, it's just not observation.
So, Bruni, do you have that letter?
Yeah, it's right here. It's not the one that's in the board. Yeah.
Okay, it's from I-8.
So these are things that you identify what they're looking for. These are, it's like when I started reading about the scope. Plan scope,
Bruni, is it this one?
significant risks.
Page 75?
It's not.
These are all the areas to which they're auditing. That's what that letter is. Outlines the pieces of the audit. That's what they audit. That's what they're looking.
Summary explaining. There's why.
This
What their audit is. It's their.
No, this says we have identified the following as significant risks. That's not a general.
There is nothing there. You have the full audit.
The audit is, each finding is explained and,
Yeah, I saw that, and I looked through that. These are general statements. These are specific.
and then, well,
Specific to what? There's nothing.
To our district. I don't know.
I can address it with the auditor.
shall we say it? I don't know.
I'm just reading
We
what's on.
have this,
This is what I have.
No, that's. This is what I'm looking at. It doesn't, I mean,
They give their.
it says we have identified the following significant risk. That's not a general statement. And then it goes on to identify very specific things. It does identify the ones she stated, but it has other things on it as well to review stuff. This is page, it's not in that, it's just a separate letter. And it says it was sent to the board.
The number.
What is it? It's a separate letter.
there's a separate letter, we'll have words. Is that?
You guys should have it.
Board members, an audit summary report that we're talking about generally provides some disseminated to the public. It's a more digestible way for the public to get it. That wasn't included in your report packet, but Lori has a copy of it right there. It was something that he Bailey also distributed. And that is where it identifies it as a significant risk which is the highest risk they can put, is that a district may have the ability to override control the district has implemented. Management may override the district's control in order to modify the financial records with the intent of manipulating the financial statements to overstate the district's financial performance or with the intent of concealing fraudulent transactions. Auditors tag that as a significant risk. Numbers aside. The administrators are providing you with one of the conferences, maybe an email that lists a bevy of those items.
And I'm sorry, but the pension liability, I don't think we covered that in your report. It says we have identified the value of the pension liability. What page are you looking at?
So the mails have that level.
Well, I'm looking for the letter. After that, it's about a retirement system and then first health system. Estimated net pension liability, why they cover outflow and inflow, which is right by using the projection. We're not about that.
So did you say you had, were you presenting slide?
Copy of the audit summary, right?
No, what did you say right after that?
Sorry?
What did you state after that in regards to an email? An email.
Email was sent to you today.
Me?
No, the board.
I didn't get my.
Superintendent. Did it?
Oh, the
Approximately an hour and a half before.
email. Was email?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then, sign vote of confidence on our CFO from 6 out of your 7 administrators. Citing the significant risk area. And plenty of incidents where management overrides the controls have been implemented. When I see our CFO find the meeting.
So I still have a question about pension liability.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Pension liability. It says that we have identified the valuation of pension liability. It says the amounts reported by the county being based on the county's proportionate share of the CalSTRS and the CalPERS net pensions related to deferred outflows and inflows. Can you please answer why this is in here? What is he referring to? Yeah. You don't know why
I don't know
it's
what
in
it's in there.
Is there anything?
You guys are throwing out this, you're throwing out that, and then I'm, voting no confidence. Do you honestly think I'm gonna sit here and be able just to shoot from my hip? I don't do that. So please allow me the respect to be able to get the information and be able to provide it to you. Than to sit here and pull things from here and there and then start firing all these rounds off. I did not come here prepared for that. So with all due respect, I would like to finish with the corrective findings and the corrective actions so that we can continue with this meeting.
But does that sound familiar?
Probably yes, your pension, all of that is looked at in an audit.
Okay,
Absolutely.
but you are okay with everything about the pension? Findings?
There is no findings. There are no corrective findings. If you look at the back, there are findings that are actually findings that pertain to the finances of our district. There are 6 findings in the audit.
What's that letter from the library?
I need to look to see what the letter is. It doesn't say it's concrete. It's a letter.
Where did you
So that's 2,4.
Yeah,
What does that letter say? Oh,
They have a date on
March 14th. Same day that
This is attached to the letter. I'm confused.
We have
This one here that you brought up to us, is that attached to the email?
Yes.
Was it received before the email?
That generally is
No.
part of the board packet. It's like,
This is to us.
Yeah, it must have came separate from the audit. Not audit, you mean. I didn't know.
they're the same day.
They read over that's for investigate the letter. You gotta take a look at it.
Can I get page 75 and then 37? And then we'll get a- Oh. But this is not- We didn't have-
Different from, you said the word, it's different. It's 70. Did you say so this one? Yeah, yeah, that's, it's different, but this is the problem. It's different. Did you think that better than she said? No, I was right. I see if she's seen. I think that's the same thing. So it's fine. This this is not it. This is not it. This is the August 64 rate. Okay, well, can we take care of this and investigate your center?
And I have a question slash comment.
Sure.
Robert Anderson with the Valley High School.
Can you come up here a little bit more so we can hear you? There's a picture of what's going on up here.
Robert Anderson with the Valley High School. I would like to point out that while there might have been a discrepancy, we're looking at 600,000 here, 400,000 there, and corrections made in this balance. That's all cool. However, policy decisions are made off of the financials that you have in front of you. So if those get settled at the end of the year, we walk away from 9 million here and 6 million there, we have some confusion to how many millions we walk away from that off the table. Were those positions? Were those services for students? Did you guys make decisions on the premise that we didn't have money that we actually had? And did that affect our children, people that were supposed to be here? I think the board deserves our full support and integrity. I would say good people can make that decision with that data. I'd ask you to take an active role in looking at your financials, not at the end of the year, but when we're looking at making cuts, we're looking at the cost structure that we wouldn't have to lose, think of the kids that have the crisis. Please take that a little more.
Like, are we gonna move on and, like your motion to approve, to accept the 2022? Well, we can't hear you. And I'm not talking to people that I'm sorry.
So. If you don't, that's fine. Do we all get a copy of that on March 14th?
Well, it's right here, it's what this is, look, it looks like a. That is the showing that the result. So It's honestly. But it's from the same entity that. Yeah, I mean, we have to either, yeah, unless we want to do those. I mean, it's the audit, so we're just accepting the audit.
We want to have all the paperwork in order before we accept the audit findings. Would that be the prudent thing to do?
Not approving it, Scotty, we're just accepting the audit as is.
Okay.
And their, their findings and their recommendations and what we've done with it. Or you can see from this letter that you gave us, it looks like it's more like an acceptance letter showing that those issues were covered. But we'll look at it more carefully also. This is the audit and the findings to submit. If we don't want to, if we don't want to, I don't know. This team says, right? More. So yeah, it should do the work. Should be. We don't have a comments today. Yeah, if you don't want to accept it, we can say no and have a redo.
No, you don't even have to do that. They just go from. And in order to.
We don't have to do more. I don't think it's a disruption.
It's there as a whole. It's
We
missing,
talked about here.
it's missing a letter.
I didn't get that letter.
So next we have the notice of correction of these actions of the 2023-2024 financial audit for Climate Change and Unified School District. That's 9B, so we want to pass that one too, that just shows the corrections are done. We'll go to approval of Trinity Valley School Plan for Student Achievement as the SA. You better, Jacqueline. There you are, Jacqueline.
I don't have a lot of changes from this year to last year. I think one of the big ones was we added, Missoula Children's Theater this year. And we have them booked for the beginning of May. Might have been my absent. I think everything that lined out correctly financially down to the dollar. So I don't know where it's exact. I would add it several times. So, I don't know if you guys have any questions for me about, it's all like mostly like materials and supplies, field trip, basic stuff. I don't know if there's anything different there. Do I have any questions?
Have any public comment on this item? I can't hear you.
She asked if it went before IVP and yes, it did. They had one recommendation. I didn't have all the analysis filled out, and so that was the feedback that I got back, so I completed that. I was good to go. They said they were approving it. They just said, you need to finish this one part. So, oh, yeah, I didn't stress it. Other than that, it would, yeah.
Any other, do I hear a second? Second. I have a motion made by trustee Colbrook, seconded by trustee Gray to approve the Trinity Valley Elementary School Plan for Student Achievement. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Thank you.
Next, we have a resolution for supporting the implementation of our Youth, Our Future Project, National Institutes of Health Grant.
Colorado State University reached out to us, Google High and Google Elementary, the previous number of the survey. So the survey, although asks a lot of things about drug use, not all use, gives our district ample data to understand what our students are going through that we can use to help support them. And by completing this survey, they'll give us a data package back to the all of our student data for social climate, using drugs, or using alcohol, or smoking tobacco. For our participation, if we have 80% students take that, Hoopel can get up to about $1,700 in unrestricted funds, and the high school $200 in unrestricted funds, and that's funded to support the students. And also data that we need to help support our students. We have students that are addicted to drugs and we don't know it. And so the survey is pretty famous to go through it. We gave it a Bill Martin, and it's pretty insightful for our students.
Who gives the, who gets the information back? I mean, what? You know, who will the information come back
Me
to?
and Scott.
You
So
and
we'll
Scott.
provide that to you.
Who else gets the information?
Well, Hoopel and I were the only ones that had to do the survey, sixth grade through 12th grade. So they'll compile this list, it'll be Hoopel else.
Who else is getting information on our students in our community?
Colorado University's tried that study,
And what are they using that for?
to support Indigenous students.
The what?
Support Indigenous students
How are they getting?
by understanding the data behind those students, what implications, what are the things they're going through in their life, are they addicted to drugs, what's going on? I'm home with one parent, they have two parents, they go to school, just to better understand the population. So they use that information to help their grants, and they provide us with time to help support others.
It's completely anonymous.
Completely anonymous. So our superintendent approved it, so I was surprised I was on the board. But we could have a presenter from their program to explain it all. I thought it was very improved. Sorry for that miscommunication. So the superintendent approved the use of the survey, so I said, do you plan, what do you think about giving the survey to help our students? And she says, yeah, go ahead and do it. So she was for it. We've done it in the past as a district, so I've already reached out there. So Delmar was also a participant in that survey last year. So my 8th grade class, we got $500 for it again, so we're gonna use that for our end of the year field trips. So we went well.
Well, I have to say that I never did like these kind of things. Somebody is taking our data and using it for their purposes. And it actually that we want to survey our native students. And I didn't, I looked through all the questions. Actually, it was quite depressing to me to even read the questions to answer. I think that I didn't see a whole lot of positivity in there. And I don't know, I guess really, I just didn't like how it made me feel. And I thought about having our students read those questions, do another survey. They just did a survey. They get surveyed quite a bit. And I feel like, I don't know, do non-native students get surveyed like this all the time with the same questions? I mean, I feel like it's targeting. So I apologize because I have a lot of negative feelings about these kind of surveys. I know that because I've asked my son a lot, because I see survey, and ask him, well, how do you feel? Did you ever ask our kids, how do you feel when you get asked? How does that make you feel? What do those questions make you feel like? And he opts out because it doesn't make you feel. And same with my daughter, she didn't like papers, she didn't like how they made her feel. Because they're it's pretty negative type questions, and I get it,
that we are hopeful that they're going to give us information, but do they ever really tell us ways to make it better? Are they just taking our information and using it for their grants? You know, I mean, we know that our students are in trouble. We know that, and we have the wellness center, and Melissa's working like crazy to help all that she can. But I don't know, maybe these surveys help you to figure out what to do next for our students. I don't think they do either. So, I mean, I'll stop there, but those are really my feelings on, especially, you know, and I read every single question. And I read all of it, and I came away, I feeling really good. So I would vote no myself personally, but of course it's at the board level, and we can, pass.
And I have to say, I didn't better understand but I didn't understand. But to me, I felt like, knowing, I mean, I don't know if we really understand this depth that our children are in right now. You know that, I mean, things have surprised me with my grandkids, and if we can figure out just how we are, so that we can really drill down and focus in on it. Or maybe we're not as bad off as we think.
I just don't think, I think we know about that.
But I don't, you're right, I don't think we do. I always feel a little bit used, when that stuff comes up. However, I did also read through the whole thing, and I would like them to answer.
You can ask all of them. I think we know. I think we know. I think it's these people because they're most studied people that there are. I don't know if you folks know this, but I am an anthropologist by education and academics, and these questions would be exactly what an anthropologist would ask a community of people or students. And so I'm really opposed to it, and I don't like it that we continue to allow our students to be studied, right? In my work, I have to look at, you know, these are the same kinds of studies that have been done for a long time. You know, I'm completing a repatriation of care was taken from students that were sent to Sherman boarding school. And their hair was cut and their skin was studied because the person who was studying them was trying to prove that they were not as capable or as gifted or as intelligent as their non-native counterparts. So I'm not in favor of this kind of study, and I'm not in favor of our administration welcoming this kind of study. That's how I feel. So I would vote no to. Any other board member questions on this? So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, I didn't know that the Rollins grant was on the agenda, so I don't know if I can grant survey. So we actually did the same thing with the national tobacco survey this year because where was that data going to go? What was it for? We're perfectly planned with the Healthy Kids survey that's used for grant funding extraordinarily. So it was really worth the grant. But one thing we really have actually talked about is our shouldn't get out.
Yes, we already assess our children in and around this area with state required, social, emotional, drug and alcohol, school climate. We already are required to collect all that information. And we utilize that. We don't give it to anybody. State gets it, but yes.
Do you have any other community comment?
About this,
Yeah. About this.
I just want to clarify, all I did was forward this survey to Jennifer Lane, and that's all I did. I didn't request the survey.
Could you stand back on?
So I just wanted to say, I didn't request the survey, I just got this request, I forwarded it to Jennifer Lane, and that's what I did.
Yes. Anyone want to make a motion? All makes a motion.
So do I hear a motion?
You just said that.
So I don't hear a motion. The motion, the item dies for lack of a motion. Next, we have approval of the school calendar for the 2025-2026 school year. And that will be presented by Jennifer, but she is not here. And I think that there's options. So is there anybody here who's addressing these options, or could we just table this and tell? Okay, go ahead.
I can sit down. Okay, did you speak up so we can hear you? I'm sorry. I can put down behalf of the KTTA. We're choosing hard on the calendar. We tried to mimic the district calendar, the ceremonial day. They asked for the 25th of August off because that's the vote dance day, which we totally agree to. But in return, we asked for the 26th of November off, which is the day before Thanksgiving. That's kind of that's a deal breaker for KTTA. Other than that, we wanted clarification if we could have minimum days in the last week of school to maybe at the high school in our final schedule.
So you're talking about the KTT, the one that's like KTT.
That's our recommendation for my.
We just have to get.
But we have to have the direct. Can we, are they on mind if we table this because Jennifer's not here and is that okay? And so which one is yours again that you were to the bar?
One on the tax, KTTA.
Oh, so this one, this has the day before Thanksgiving off, correct?
Yes, and we also ask that we have a smoke day on Monday, because right before the tax, I emailed you guys all last year about that, how that was problematic, everybody. Let's do the day on the staff meeting days. Yeah, please, last year you changed to Monday, we're getting to the implications of that, but I think for these where it was not good for our school site or any school site, because the state has. And because we also have disseminated information on our staff meeting days, on our collaboration days, which are all on Monday.
Yeah, to clarify, your schedule has it on Friday.
Yes,
So all these guys are out on Fridays.
yeah, and I ask that you leave June 5th and free of snow day, snow day, just in case you do have a fish fair or some kind of environmental fair. That's usually they reserved for last year. We have a little overlap on that, kind of snafu, so this year I made sure to relay that information to the district and Emily.
You're saying June 5th? What did you say?
The fish fair, you did not, it's no, it's okay.
True.
Okay, we'll just table it, though, we can take better look. I didn't, there are three different ones, Jennifer's not here, so I don't think we have two rounds on four, but thank you, Candace. For
I
the,
can tell you which one of the weeks popular.
yeah, tell us which one is your least popular.
With the weeks, the President's Week, the Autumn Week, that was least popular.
Do you know if it's draft 1 or 2?
It's the one that starts on the 18th.
Okay.
It starts on the 18th, I think. Yeah,
Round 2. So this is your least favorite.
that was the least favorite from the union.
Okay, we'll table this until the next, because this doesn't have to be done today. Table this, and you got it.
Have any input?
I'm not here. We better make an announcement. And next we have approval of the board proposal for wireless networking device replacement.
Yeah, so this is gonna be utilizing the last of our 5-year cycle of our E-rate funding that we get. Our portion of it is shown in here. Our portion will be $6,845. And that is to get $45,634.03 worth of equipment licensing for all of our access points, which is across our district. This is going to replace a little bit over 50% of our access points, because I believe it was June or July 26th of 2026, they will all be out of support. And so instead of us trying to purchase around 100 devices at once, I wanted to use the last of our E-rate funding that we had and get a jump on it and be able to split up that big hit, so we don't have, because during our construction years, we got like a bottom at once, they're all the same model, and so they're all going out at the same time, out of support, like we can't utilize them anymore. And so what I ended up doing is working with our E-rate consultant and put this together so that we can get our licenses for all of our wireless access points across the district extended a year, and then also purchase replacements for a lot of our access points that we have across the district. This is basically what's going to provide the Wi-Fi in every single classroom and in the front offices everywhere throughout the whole district. We have ended up with, like I said earlier, it's the cost of it all. We put it on the bid. We ended up having 2 people come back. AMS.net, we awarded it to them because we worked with them over the past, since I've been here, about 10 years in this department. And they also came in lower, like $5 grand than CDWD.
Did you have this, did you run this back in?
Yeah, she was the one who, she had already basically said, she backed it for me. And then I said, okay, do you want me to propose it to the board? And yes, so I wrote the proposal and I sent it to Dana to have it put on this. I am not sure about that. I sent it to Jennifer, asked Jennifer about it first, and then she just, oh yeah, put a board proposal together.
Is this time sensitive?
We have, not really, we have until July, or, so the biggest thing is that we do it by July 1. So that way we don't have to pay the full 45 upfront. So it's kind of not really time sensitive in a sense, but we have to have it done right now. We just won't, this is basically to be approved for our next fiscal year's budget.
So what happens when the speed rate contribution, when you use it up, you said something about it,
It will renew.
it will renew, so okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
How does that work? How does it just renew? Does it renew as soon as you spend it, or is there a date to that it renews?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's it goes in a 5-year cycle. This year is the last of that, this last 5 years. And it's different categories. Category 2, the one that I'm speaking on right now, is for like licensing and actual like hardware devices that we use, like our switches or like a lot of our networking equipment. And what it's doing right now, at the end of, I want to say their fiscal year ends at the same time as our July 1. So at the end of this year, we will be able to get reimbursed as soon as it's over. If we approve it, we buy it. But what I always like to do is just wait until after instead of us paying the full almost $46,000 upfront and getting reimbursed, I would just wait until, I always like to just wait until we can just get them to pay that part. We'll pay our $6 grand and then we'll get the stuff, but it'll be renewed. They basically have a big pot of money and then they disperse it every 5 years throughout all the different districts.
And we're down to our last 38,000.
Yes, we spend, if we do this, we spend every single penny of it.
I don't like to spend everything.
I have a motion made by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Bray, to approve the board proposal for wireless networking device replacement. at a cost of $6,845.10 to the district. Remainder to be paid by. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none? Approved. Thank you, Rico. Next, we have the approval of the alternative to suspension program for nicotine, e-cigarette, and or cannabis use at school. Thank you, Melissa. I really like it.
Excellent. I, have, the opportunity to talk to the safety committee about it. We, had the opportunity to talk through the matrix. We did revisions, and we got full support to bring this to the board. And we're hoping to get some feedback from you about your thoughts and feelings about the matrix, the concept of using motivational interviewing techniques in order to promote behavioral change, positive behavioral change. Cooper Elementary has been using this, the 1 hour program. All the social workers have been trained, and the elementary school counselor has been trained. And I met with them this morning. I feel confident about moving forward on a district level. They're going to start looking at the 2 hour and the 4 hour, getting the curriculum together. All the PowerPoints there, all the handouts there. The program is fully ready to implement. They just have to be prepared to talk about it and to present it.
I was just looking at the, your matrix and the third and subsequent offenses.
Yes.
I thought it looked a lot like the second offense, and I'm wondering if we could maybe because it says subsequent offenses. If we could have a matrix where for the subsequent offenses that maybe it increases in the counseling possibly. And I was thinking also too, where it says, and provide verification of the visit to the school administrator within 60 days. I was thinking what you might think about 30 days, because if there's 3 counseling sessions in a 30-day period, I mean, it seems like they'd be better if they're closer together versus letting them go out for a longer period of time, maybe. Okay. That's just the thought, though. I mean, if you think it's better than 60 days, because you know how those processes work. I was just thinking in terms of bam, get them in the counseling and keep it going versus fall. They did 2 this month, but maybe they have next month before they got to get all 3 so it might be kind of spread out. Was my way of thinking, but that's not how you're doing it.
It could. It depends on the combination that they choose, because they could go to behavioral health, a counseling appointment where they could end up seeing an AOD counselor. Kind of the feedback there was that the interval of being able to get back in for the next appointment. We know that a lot of clinicians are backlogged, and so we wanted to give ample time for them to be able to get the appointment and then to also rebook, reschedule for that follow-up. So again, depending upon if the family's already connected to somebody or if they have to establish themselves as a new patient or client is the hard part, right? Because we don't know if they're going to choose Open Door, Now Behavioral Health, United Indian Health, Two Feathers. So they have lots and lots of choices, but it is going to be dependent on each family to make that.
Right. Okay, that's how we want it. I was just gonna. But also too, I was wondering if maybe if there could be especially for the baby part, if there could be possibly a treatment portion to help with, because you know what's happening is our kids are getting addicted to the nicotine, and that's it. Exactly. The drugs to try to get. So I'm wondering, I don't know if they're too young to implement something like that, but I was just thinking of that portion would make it easier maybe to help them get treated for their addictions.
My recommendation with that, if we are at a third or subsequent, is that we do a behavioral contract with the individual and the family. and that is part of the recommendation. I'm assuming that the person is probably at the expulsion level or getting very close, depending on, the circumstances of that event. So I would suggest that would be a part of the contract so that, because everything that we do with wellness has to do with voluntary, right, participation. And so when we get to that level, when there's been repeated reoccurring offenses, that's why I'm feeling pretty strongly that the district would have some leverage in requirements.
Yeah, I did hope for that there be some kind of, but I stated it would want to.
Well, I mean, we have it, we offer it, right, but we have plenty of students right now. I mean, I met with somebody today that really needs to go into treatment and is declining. And we've got the bed, we've got everything, but we don't have student agreement. So that's why I think that a contract that sort with that clause in it would be really necessary if you guys don't think it's refusing. It's different and they're voluntary because you can make that happen without going.
This is a question. I like it. Okay, Annalise, I was just gonna say, I don't know necessarily something that the district can make the say to do. This has been conversations I've had like now. And they want that to be left up to the medical provider or whoever it is that they're seeing. It's not information.
Right, exactly, it would be to.
Assessment.
Yeah, the assessment, so I'm just hoping that it is available. Because these are minors too, so I don't even know if I didn't know if that's. After something. Help with about one day, I
We
don't
do
know.
have, there's some that are being very creative. I'm hearing Zens a lot, which is more of a packet, a cheap kind of a thing. There's been discussion about gum. And so I know that there are some users that are being very creative about meeting their needs during the day. So I think it really depends on that continuum of how long they've been using, how many doses that are, how many milligrams that they're needing and how often. And so I think there's a lot of variables there. The youth, of course, can consent to receiving mental health services. They're 12 years old or older without parent consent. And so there are opportunities for them to seek supportive services with or without parent guardian permission. And we do see that very frequently in our district. And we are required to honor, and we do. So we're really looking to engage the youth in conversations about, so that they can make informed decisions about their own physical.
I really like how you really like how to visit this situation. Thank you. Any other community comment on this item?
I wanted to, give thanks to Melissa for working on this, to provide answers for some additional resources, because they have our resource so far in terms of the report. Sorry, we're a lot behind. The other thing that is going to be a huge advantage for us, or a huge tool for us, is you provide the structures of what we're doing. For one incident, two incidents, three incidents. I think it's important to point out that I would love to see a committee formed on this board to not only talk about protocols for service procedures, because it's one of the areas for most vulnerable as administrators and resource officers, where we are looking for these things. We purchased a wand to try and identify where some of those things have been hidden, because they're very easy to conceal and very often shut down in places that no one can go. Which also has a little concern, if you ask me. So for us, setting off the vape sensors, and then subsequently, if we have a hit with one of those wands, we're considering that right now it's a probable cause they have a vape on, can't be treated. It would be great for us to have those protocols in place. as well as a whole disciplinary matrix, which represented the board about 4 years ago, so we know what our parameters are. We're held accountable for all of them.
But then, fentanyl, because fentanyl is in various now too, so are you testing for that?
The wellness center does not test any drug testing at all. We are all about prevention and intervention. We do not do testing of any kind.
Fentanyl is scary.
So in terms of fentanyl,
Within race.
yes. So harm reduction is the position that we take at wellness. Harm reduction meaning that we have conversations, we build relationships, we try to present information that will help you make safer choices, knowing that if somebody's been using for whatever period of time, that our position is to help them cut back or cut down, which will lead to them not using any longer. It's unrealistic for us to take them from.
But I guess I'm general, instead of, with fentanyl in the schools, it's in there. So do you guys have the right? Yeah, all of
We do annual testing for our hand, we keep it on hand at all the sites, but no one does any testing for fentanyl. We have 10 fentanyl test strips that can be available. And so, the things that are really, that is a policy that we need to look at, right? Is because a fentanyl test strip kit contains saline. It has a small metal container and some instructions about how the student or person can test the pill or whatever it is. Problem is that fentanyl, as you know, as many of you all know, is the cookie effect is problematic, meaning that if you have a pill, right, and you imagine it as chocolate chips, some pills are gonna have lots of fentanyl, some not at all, or maybe none in the spot that person is actually cutting off the text, right? Because they're not gonna be able to use whatever it is that they're testing. So they may get a false negative because they just tested a portion that didn't have any fentanyl. So it's a huge liability for the district to be offering fentanyl test strips because of that reason.
So Lynn, are you wondering, like if they do complicated testing that way to see if it has fentanyl in it, is that what you're asking?
I would.
So. Yeah. I mean, there's sketch kit out there. It'd be expensive. And I can tell you the prices, and also, food truck board, we have to trade rates, they have to worry, nicotine strips for us. So I need all or switches on the sensor, I can test the kid. Well.
That would be, okay.
One last thing, there was a meeting held a week before last, it was facilitated by our community schools director with Judge Mike Ryan, which will say we'll attend that. One of the things that came from that meeting that Judge Blake was all but asking is a statement by the board trying to convince the tribes to get the selling of vapes off of the reservation. There's still a gas station right down the road from us where arguably the vast majority of our kids are getting these things through either having an adult purchase for them or I want to make a mistake, or they might sell them. We're getting the same kind of vapes, the bars. I have probably about 20 of them in my office. I know we've confiscated, but Judge Blake thought it would be useful for the board to make a statement that they would like to see the tribes take those products off their shelves.
Especially yeah. These shirts and jewels or something, they outlawed like they wine, right?
The flavor one for outside of the state of California, but travel sovereignty here can solid long reservation. Even the most recent law that came out, there was just a state law, which is still a state law. Wasn't-
Also, the word that most people shop, they cat. Why right there?
Not just of this. Okay, any other discussion on that? You didn't comment on that? Right here,
Can I get some clarity on the subsequent offenses you were talking about, maybe wanting another column, is that something you'd like us to look at?
Yes, I'm sorry, Melissa. Yeah, I was just thinking that the subsequent, the third and subsequent events, and I thought that maybe should at least say every offense progressing from here will add certain counseling or something, because I think it's not too. That's what I was just thinking, but I like it like that too, so yeah, that's related to you. It's good like that too. I was just thinking, three might not be enough. But I would still not want to. I like this, I like it a lot.
So clause about additional, that's
Progressive and additional. Because we're not, you know, there's addicted.
I'll do this edits, and we'll come back and take a look at it.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Do I hear a motion? A motion made by trustee Colgrove. Second, who seconded? Seconded by trustee Kelly. To approve the alternative to suspension program for nicotine, e-cigarette, and or cannabis use at schools. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Okay, that's gonna bring us back to the the field trip. So as we discussed this, and we thought we should approve the field trip on clarification of the water issue. Will that be okay with you, Karen? So we'll just have to have a follow-up. Does that sound good to you, Martha? I said we'll approve the field trip.
Oh, yes.
With the caveat that we're gonna clarify the water issue. Through the insurance company. So. Okay, do I hear a motion?
Just confirming, having the field trip will go, and then if the water issue comes up, we just skip that part of the field trip.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Motion made by trustee Colgrove. Do I hear a second? Kelly, I can't hear you. Seconded by trustee Kelly, and I don't have that words that right in front of me. But it's a motion to approve field trip. With the caveat, that the, okay, no, the student overnight field trip request for Orleans Elementary School. Total cost for the field trip $246 to the district. With the caveat that will clarify the insurance issue with the water power, having to do with the waters. And you were gonna get, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And then you're gonna get Marty the certificate of your lifeguard. Okay. Okay, that brings us to 8B, which was the consent calendar. For the commercial warrants through the ASB, Terry. You want to do that? I think we pulled it, but I think we were going to put it on the action. You want to just table it? It's fine here now. Because I don't think it's time sensitive, because I have questions on it too. Whatever you want. There's some questions that probably I don't. Scotty, do you have your ASB expert here?
My answer, I don't have a.
Yeah, no, I
No, I
don't.
do not.
Okay,
I don't have a secretary with my answer.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna,
I may be able to answer some questions. If you're looking for some information.
We should table a table and we'll take it. So we're gonna table the, we're gonna table the ASB
Okay,
warranty to April. Yes. Table it to the next agenda. All right, Dana? And then in the meantime, we'll get our questions answered. We'll be a good question. Next, we have reports. So we have a list, everybody's, Jennifer Lane submitted a written report, Pharmacy, the hospital submitted a written report. So now we're at the trustees. Derek, did you have any pictures that you want to report in area one? This one. Yeah. And Lori March and I represent trustee area two, and I don't report this. Area three, Martha. Four, Paducah Conroe. Area five, Frank Richards.
Yeah, I'm the chairman of building liability structure, and we just got a huge grant. And almost half of that grant is going to be to create a solar program, solar certificate program. So I want to work with Scotty and hopefully get some 17-year-olds in there. I don't think it's going to cost them anything to join. But we got the grant, we're just waiting for it to get dispersed. And we're still working on the homeless huts that I gave you the materials list for, and try to get a high school group building these huts for the homeless. Those are two projects that I can do.
Awesome.
we were able to. I'm looking at training, I'm gonna check and see if she will hopefully, once we get the price. File digitized, we looked at other parts, they build like Lego. And so we got, we're with that right now.
I have a question on the, is that a solar plan? Would that be something that would be feasible to work on to get solar power? School district wide, possibly even?
For solar grid.
Yeah, for a solar, to bring the school district into solar.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Grid Alternatives is the group that we're working with, and they're international, I think.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that, a project for that, because I see, you know, our PG&E is over $2,000 a month or twice a month, and the electric. So if you could bring something to the board for a whole, if you're really into it, Frank, for district-wide solar, that'd be awesome.
Guys will be certified solar installer.
Your students will be.
We can go down to grants, and there's a couple other initiatives. But you know, a lot of our sister districts identify that, aside from staffing investments, we all go away to implement with the positive.
Yeah.
That would be great. Perfect, of course.
Yeah, we definitely need to get going on that. Trustee Jackson is not here. Trustee Kelly, area 7.
Yes, I made a couple of trips down to Jackson recently and really enjoyed it. Had a really encouraging talks with the teacher and his aide who's going into teaching, and her student for digital year and student teaching. And they have a lot of plans. Project sounded really positive. Wichita School, Gerald Magnet School, visited Jackson, they did a field trip to do the spring awards ceremony. Cheryl Tuttle's class is K through 3, and Jack Martin is 4 through 8. Jack Martin is talking about looking forward to expanding eventually, sooner the better, to a kindergarten through 8, or TK through 8. Tomorrow, the here off Magnet School is taking a field trip to go see their winning poster. I don't know if we saw pictures, it came out really pretty in the paper. But it's an amazing poster that they did for her day, and it's probably this year. We will take a field trip to the Goodnight Gallery at Cal Poly Humboldt. The Goodnight Gallery is hosting a show called Undamming the Klamath. Our mural that is on the Klamath River cleanup poster will be shown in this art show. We are excited to be in an art show. They won, we took first place, and I think that was Delmar County, Humboldt County, the schools that took place in this art contest. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Mendocino was also involved in that contest, and our K-3 kids did an amazing job. It's at the gallery, and you'll be able to see it when you bring it back home, or if you're going to Humboldt State, that's where that poster is. Because I was really proud of it. And they get a lot of cultural education each week. And as they were doing their project, their art project, they had to really it hit home for them. They knew it was their river that they were. And the ecology around it, wildlife, the fish, the water life, they were really, really into it. So they are celebrating. Anyway, that school is doing really well. And go up in and visit someone.
Okay, next we have Erin Moya. She has a group report. Do we have any community comment or questions of her? Is she, or she is still here?
She left.
Yeah, she left, okay. Then we have Karen Cole, she's principal of Orleans Elementary. She provided a nice written report with any community questions, comments for on her report. And next we have Holden Johnson, principal of Lupa Elementary, written report. If we have any community, and if you can stop if you feel like saying something extra, and I don't need to be going too fast. So if you have anyone have a community comment on.
Well, Paul, thank you for the work too.
Thank you. One thing I'd like to add is we have a reading program that has a dyslexia screener. So we've now come to the point where we have students that are screening high rates, like 95% for dyslexia. So our next steps are to work with special education in the district, figure out what supports we can provide to those students that are extremely dyslexic. Right now, we have a few things in the classroom, but we're going to get some extensive thorough support from the students that we have dyslexia. Studies show that addressing those issues as early as possible is the best coverage. Something we can look forward to is what we're going to do with our students.
That's awesome. Next we have Jacqueline McCullough, Trinity Valley Elementary School. She provided a written report. Did you have anything to add, or do we have any community comment for Jacqueline?
We have a career day in May 8th. We have another related event, so I look forward to that. And we draw school day. We have 2 helicopters scheduled, touchdown on our field, and just some really great job opportunity or job ideas for kids to be involved in our fields. Everybody got that, so you're looking from kickoff, payment, we'll have to it'll be a busy week, and we're going to pass it next week. Excited about that. I think we're going to see a lot of growth in our school this year, and really looking forward to seeing results.
Thank you. Yeah. Scotty Appleford, Lupa Valley High School, he provided a written report. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, if you don't mind, because I don't know the rest of the public comments can be provided, but there's a couple of people here that want to speak. I want to provide some clarification to some of the questions that have come up during the course of this. But first, do we line up corrective actions for the audit? Did we figure out what those were going to be, or do we just?
They're all in the audit.
Oh, they're corrective actions that we're going to do or in the audit itself?
Yes. The corrective actions have already been done, and they're already in the audit.
I wanted to talk about what we learned tonight real quickly. We learned that our CFO didn't bring the audit guide summary or provided to anything.
This is an issue that's more personnel. And we already passed this issue, so if we could bring this back to, Jennifer next week, and then we'll, discuss it there. I don't, it's really late tonight, and we're already well past that.
I have questions about it. So I understand that the track has been closed to the community, is that correct?
No.
Oh, that's.
Wow.
During the school day,
Maybe school day.
Yes, we close the track, the
I think there were always the that but we never looked outside. You go checking at that is on or the high school sign in if you're there, like was very cool out. Maybe about the gate, maybe they're asking about the gate. I don't know, that's the first I've heard about it.
Well, I know I was on track. Yeah, I was running off the vice principal, they would look at me and then went over the long gate, so I was talking. And so I walked over and tried to figure out how to get out. I called you, and didn't respond. And I was able to flag down a lady, you know, over and open the gate, and then she told me that the facility was closed, that the gate was supposed to be locked at all times. So I said, okay.
The double gates, are you talking about the gate by the field? Yes.
The gates from, well, it's from, yes, but the gates at the school are closed during the 12 minute and closed campus.
So that's what I'm asking, is the track closed?
No,
But I've told staff that we need staff, this has been working with us to make sure that double gates closed, so we don't have a hungry man and a.
But there are no, but we're not, we're still allowed to use that track facility.
Yeah, I mean, I have some safety concerns with that, but depending on who's there, but I'm not gonna go about having it.
Well, I'm free. I made it out.
I would really like to have a reconsideration on what I have to say. Because some of the things that we've identified tonight, I think the board should know, the public should know.
I said no, I'm sorry, I think we want to be with the board, next time in the executive session at the next meeting. I think it's something that we need to discuss.
Okay. When can I start to, for that time?
Next meeting.
Next meeting during closed session.
Next. Unless you want to schedule board meeting, then we'll have to schedule that with, you know, with the superintendent.
Okay. The items that I have to mention don't have to do with personnel, they have to do with finances and the reporting to the
Well, we're
board.
past that issue, Scotty.
Okay.
I would concur with you. This I need to go ahead and talk outside if you like.
Well, he's supposed to be doing his, he's supposed to be doing his report, or his report was on the agenda.
Well, at the end, then we have.
Yeah.
So is there anything else about your campus that you'd like?
I provide you a comprehensive report.
You don't have anything to add to that, that's great, it was a great report.
I'd like to ask a point of information, please. Point of information. If somebody in the community had an issue with, say, an athletic director making a decision in the course of their business, is it appropriate to say that we have a problem with the athletic director making this decision, or is that defined as a personnel issue?
Well, that would be a personnel issue,
So we can't discuss how positions are being managed.
not in an open setting like this, you can discuss them, to say you might have closed session item or discuss them with the superintendent first and get them on the agenda, but we don't do that, we just open comment.
Oh, sure, as a teacher, I appreciate what you're trying to say about privacy and confidentiality, personal issues.
But no, I'm very.
People holding positions and somebody is saying a position is working. For example, I have a report from KTTA that I'm about to get, but I don't want to run the same misunderstanding of that distinction.
Right. There's a comment on non-agenda items. He's talking about. He's talking about.
I guess.
I will not speak on this item.
Okay, well, next we have Tasha McCullough. She submitted a written report, and is going to be done. Is there any community comments on her report, or did you have anything to add to your report?
I do have some. About much of the work. If you saw the release. It's down to 5.4 dollars. The problem is. Right, and see what happened was, it was so many hours, and then it got cut down, but that person can't do that. Which is, so I think it's, yeah, we need to first. So, but we're there.
And then we have Ms. Deanna put in a written report. Did you have anything to add, Nancy?
Yeah, I just want to say, I just sorry, before they made a big day, and she did lots of reminders and stuff, so I did not know where I will be figure about that. This is the low, as you know, so ridership is, and I wanted to be close to my staff. My staff are very hard, I'm a little nervous about those, it's closing down right now. Because we're just midpoint for my department, so, it's not on a budget rate. Like right now, it's 30th April, it's 10 and thirds for us, it keeps one, for greater than some of my figures, for great hard, that's so a lot of, deferred maintenance, really need to look at the portable classrooms. They're starting to need a lot of work, so budget wise, we need more money in our budgets over there, so, so I'll leave it at that since I didn't do it before, but, I have a lot to say, and I will get better because they did very good about position minded job getting ready before. I apologize, I didn't get for money, so I will get better about doing it. Yeah.
Anybody have?
I just want to say we really appreciate all you do to keep us moving on our field trips. Now that all Hills roads paved, is there any chance that since we, like for us to get out to some of the national state parks over there from here, it takes a long time going out the 96. Is there any chance that ever be reconsidered so we could go to very private vehicles at least out?
I will bring it up to CHP and ask that way, but I will not authorize that. I will ask anytime to get the state, this may not stay on the weekdays and highways, for those routes on. Because I did it that it's paid by less words of the mouth myself, but I also would worry tremendous that you got a very strong clock, there's some parking that you have to have in there. Then there's a stay on the main highway, have more relevant ones with us. So I would have a good CHP if you would ever cruise that and just go work and we just be willing to put that, but I will not.
Let's see, so it's CHP and school board.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Missy. And I want to thank you for coming all the way out here to the open world for. Tabucci is not here. She submitted a written report. So if anybody has any questions about the education or the I have to, Jennifer, and she can get answers.
I don't want to, I want to go right into the item action again from Gucci, that we get real information. That we get, how many students they're serving. I don't need to know just. Yes, I put it on board, I announced them on board, I also announced that we get attendance on a monthly basis. From areas. From our business department, because it would be the easiest to just print off, district-wide for us, so that we have it. But I really would like that for ACES and for Indian Ed, that we just find real information, like how many kids, how many times did we close the program, those kind of things. Really. Melissa Ruiz, wellness coordinator, she submitted a report. Does anyone have any, you want to add to your report?
I just want to say that I'm super proud to emphasize that we, served 402 contact visits last month, which is in the report. That's 175 uncommunicated individuals from Cuba Elementary, Cuba High, and Cuba and Captain John. And 217 of those were drop-in wellness visits. That's a lot. All day long, we are welcoming people that are coming in there spontaneously for some level of support or assistance or feedback. And I'm really, really proud of the work that we're doing together. Super excited about the wellness partners that we have and the work we're doing with our students that we have.
Thank you, Liza. We really appreciate it. Feels great.
Any other comments, community comments from Melissa? Next, we have Will Prosper, Chief Resource Officer. Did you have a report or anything to say, Will?
Yeah, it was late.
Let everyone know. Any community comment, questions?
Just that, you guys consider it all, you do want me to go further, this third backpack or those backpacks because of contaminated refining, officers are finding. No debates, we had the pepper spray incident, well, mentioned came from there, like alcohol, knives, so. And we now have a cell phone thing, we're doing that, well, mentioned, to go, be a state law pretty soon. So, you guys consider that, go to the clear backpacks or totes or no backpacks. That's just my suggestion to you, but I can get a price of one from the district next week.
So is the high school going to those pouches with the cell phones too, or is it just the elementary? Or is it all?
Can you give us a little information on that, like?
Yeah, so sixth grade, the third grade is fine, kids take the pouch. In the morning, they put the phone in it, they lock it up. Some teachers just hold the bucket pouches, some kids keep it with them. Sixth grade through third is fine, all those students every day and check them out, no issue. Some middle school students thought it'd be great to take razors or scissors and keep working on it or bust them open. So for 7th and 8th grade, we pouch them, just take it to the office. 2:45, we're just getting the phones back and it's working pretty successfully. We're taking 95% of the phones. There's 1 or 2 kids that stuck one in a sock and we finally did it. But significant improvements, just a story. I had 6 sixth grade girls yesterday. They didn't have their phones, so at lunch they're, what are we gonna do? So they're playing, spin each other around 31 times. And then go through blow-ups, so of course they can see if they can do without phone up, and they're having a blast.
Rico Tello, you submitted a written report. Did you have anything extra to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say how thankful and proud I am of my crew, they're becoming a lot more, I would say, proactive than reactive with a lot of our stuff here. The other thing that my whole report for this last month is we're bringing basically like more one-on-one support for trainings for anybody in the district, for teachers and classified staff members. That way we can help them maximize the use of all of our cool stuff that we have right now, like all our softwares, all of our, everything that we have. And we got our first one this last week, or actually today, the first training that we got to do with somebody was today, and it went pretty well. I think I'm just hoping that it helps our staff better, like, get more knowledge of like all of our different types of devices, all of our different software that they have to help make their jobs easier and help contribute like to the teaching of all of our students that we have. That's my biggest thing.
Do we request help like technically, or is it separate?
We sent out an email, and then we also, that has our bookings on it, so you can just go in there and pick a time that works best for you. And also we put it's just a single sign-on app on our ClassLink Launchpad for everybody, for all of our staff also. The other cool thing is that, there's PD money. So if, like, for a teacher, right, if you are gonna stay after an extra, because my crew works until 4:30. So if you're an elementary teacher and you need an hour-long training at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you can do that. And then we have a sign-in sheet that we can also send to you to fill out, and then you'll be compensated also. So.
Professional development money sort of something?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's great.
So we're hoping that we can get a lot more help for everybody.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How are you doing on updating your job descriptions?
I have job descriptions made out for these guys. I just am not certain on how that process goes. I'm not sure if I go to the
You gotta go.
union first. Yeah, so I have a few different layouts. I've been more asking other districts how they have theirs structured, because ours is structured from the 90s, I think, the last time it was restructured, or maybe early 2000s. But I have job descriptions made out and different structures like created, I guess, for our department. And that is one of the big changes, is like trying to get to where we can help give more training for all of our stuff that we have.
Actually,
So-
Derek was with Derek. They did all new job descriptions with Derek, was whatever you're doing, the head of whatever you do.
Was he, so
Derek didn't have
2000, I think the
2000 something.
like 3, I think, right, or
Maybe it
2013.
should be a little longer than. I don't know.
If you have questions regarding the process of going to the unions, you could ask Terry.
Okay.
She's well praised in that area.
Perfect. Don't get mad at me. I said I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have any questions? Union report, CSAA is not present, but, Kimberly Moon, do you have anything to report for the KTTA or? Oh, is this for the KTTA?
Yes.
Okay.
Robert Emerson. Stepped in recently, so I'm going to start that the letter into more than time. We're dividing the duties so that communication is one of the things I'll be taking care of. And right away, I made a typo in the paragraph bottom line, and sorry, I thought the form doesn't distract my attention. We've got a little bit of business. There are 2 points of business. One is that David Sanders has agreed to step in as a new member to our negotiating team. And his experience and his positive attitude should be sent to everybody. And the other is we're awaiting signatures to adopt a proposed collective bargaining agreement 2019-22. And look forward to adopting the 22-23 agreement as soon as I can. As a side note, we'd like to let the board that they received a sunshine notice. And we'll do our thing soon. And then certified staff in the district, we stand resolutely mindful that we face many challenges in our district, and we will face many more challenges in the coming months. If there was one message we would like the board to take away from the strong community outpouring last month, so the best way to go forward is to work together. Within our unit, we have many teachers with decades of experience in education, specifically to our sites and our age groups. We would have you accept that we're an asset to be utilized by you. The decisions you will make shall have a direct impact on the students whom we serve every day. So it is in their interest in our home to provide you with counsel and information at your pleasure. We're very grateful to the board members who stood in opposition to proposed cuts last month. We believe that this could have been avoided with better information ahead of time. As it was, the board was presented with no workable solution to an impending fiscal emergency that is very real. We encourage the board to utilize the certificated staff as important experts in the practical needs of our students, as well as the legal requirements of our schools that we must abide by. As budget cuts very likely the reality, allow us to help guide reductions that would create the least amount of harm to student services and the solvency of the district. As a final and significant point, we would like the board to take active attention to the fiscal reporting by the district. Recent independent audit by the E.D. Bailey Company reveals some sobering inaccuracies in our district's financial reporting. In addition, our district incurs serious penalties and fines over how we do business that deserves the board's active attention. Facing the future, it seems that we cannot afford the luxury of inaccuracies or opacity in our financial reporting. Annually, we face fines and fees on how we do things. This reflects the height of the responsibility to our mandate to the children of the community that we would look to cutting a bus route and aid for an entire program where our financial house is so out of order. This is not sin, malice, or anger, but just the opposite. Dishonesty should only be reserved for whom we do not respect if it has any place in the world at all. We present this to you in respect and partnership for our common goal of putting the children interests first. And we're going to be working with you as your assets. Many people have come to our site over the years. I've been teaching for 16 years and I can count the number of things I've seen on campus. And when it happens, it's great. It is. But I've heard things like, you know, oh, I'm going to watch the dog. I have no idea where that idea comes, where that impression comes. I've heard board members say things about community, sort of like a torches and pitchfork kind of a moment. It shouldn't have to come. Good decisions can come from great information. And we have a vested responsibility and shared obligation to the children of our community. We should be working together. Whatever perceived us or presented us as obstacles to your responsibilities, your incredible responsibilities and sacrifice, misrepresented us. We have every interest to see a well-functioning world going forward, making decisions in the hard months that come ahead. I'd just like to extend out to you all. Come to the high school anytime. It's a public space. I don't have a classroom. My students have a classroom. It's an open space. Drop in anytime. See what we're doing, and rely on us. Ask us. What do you think about this? Or do you think you might be able to make cuts in this direction or that direction? Those kinds of decisions would stop torches and pitchfork kind of moment. The experience of never to prevent it from happening. Thank you for your time, and everybody's good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson, I was just wondering if you would mind giving us a copy of what you read so that we could look at it again?
Yes, we're in closed session.
No, that's not the whole thing? Because you were just reading kind of fast and I was trying to listen.
Yes. I still have a few extras, but you should have this. They were put on your desk as feedback.
Yeah. That's right.
This is Dave. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, now we have a public comment and on agenda items. We have Megan Vieira.
Hi, I'm Megan Vieira. Thanks for hearing me today, for being here. I know it's late. But I wanted to say this. I have a son that goes to Hoopa High and my daughter goes here to Orleans Elementary. She's an 8th grader this year. I'm here to speak about the activity bus that goes to start in Hoopa, but it only goes to Wichita. I know times are hard right now. I've listened to everything's been said here today, and I also know it's really hard to staff positions in all the schools. I completely understand all of that. But with that said, I think our school and our children need to be recognized as like getting rides all the way home. It's a huge burden. Right now, there's it's like 7 to 9. My son's on taking an activity bus right now. There's anywhere between 7 to 9 kids right now, currently. It changes for each sports season. And so you can't, like, even with the community carpooling, like it still takes minimum 2 cars to get the kids home. And it's like, it's about a 20-minute to 30-minute round trip or one way. So round trip's like an hour for us of parents. I mean, it's like multiple cars. And it just seems like a little thing, like a little adjustment, if we could like add that time off for the activity bus. It's a little adjustment for the school, it's a huge adjustment for the community and for the kids. And I also know that there are some kids who maybe are deterred by the fact that they don't have a guaranteed ride home if they do play sports. And I feel like if they knew that they could get all the way home after sport, then it would be like, or activity, sport and activity, that it would maybe encourage some more kids to be participating in after school things there with high. And so I just really feel like it's a really important thing that needs to be addressed. Also, that being said, there's this year, the 8th grade class here in Orleans has 17 kids. It's a huge class, and almost all of them participate in sports, girls and boys. That's a lot of kids that are going to be needed to take the school bus home. And that's a lot of cars going back and forth, up and down the highway at night. During the winter, it's dark. When we're doing that driving, there's a lot of animals on the road. It's just, I feel like it would just be so much safer, like less cars, if we could just get that activity bus all the way to Orleans. It would just be so helpful for the kids, for the families, and for the entire community. And so, keep my notes, check the notes here, see if I said anything. I just really feel like a little bit further for the bus to go could make a huge effect on our community. And I also just recently heard about there's an ELOP grant that the school has that all the funds are being used. And I mean, I'm just all about solutions. I'm here to help. Like, I want to help make this happen. I don't know if it is like if we can get someone from this community to get a bus, but I don't even think a van can pick up all the kids at this point. Like, especially for next year, a van we would need like an actual bus. Like, but in the meantime, we could get like a position to get someone to drive a van and pick all those kids up, so we don't have so many parents driving up and down the river all night. And so it's just really important to this community. And sports is a big thing. It gives the kids something to do and have pride in and keep them busy and active and healthy. And I just think that it would mean a lot. If you guys can consider adding that position, whether it gets staffed or not, is a whole nother issue. And I understand that, but it'd be like considered, and that it would mean a lot to this community. And I barely spent any time, but I did a little petition. I got like 50 signatures in like 3 days. Like everybody's like, I'll find it, because everybody's either driving their kid or is going to be driving their kid, and we could really use that. So thanks for hearing me out. I know it's late. I know everyone wants to go home. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wes Crawford.
Thank you. Late, not from there. So, yeah, Wes Crawford, well, I know most of you and your contributions to this community. Thank you for that, all of you. Unique roles in our community that for so long, I know it goes back. It goes back to Severian and the others. And all the good things you guys do for this community. And I reflect back to other boards when I was growing up, and they were just leaders in our community, and I'm so thankful for them. I remember Mr. Marshall coming to me in the foyer and Jim saying, come here. I knew he was school board president at the time. I said, oh, what? She said,
I heard you're not doing good in math class, I got you a tutor. Need you eligible for basketball, so you did, got me a tutor. So it's this type of leadership that I've grown to appreciate from school board teachers, I want to share Scotty, you guys, group of teachers, Ruby, I just want to thank you for your support of my kids. Trey's, my oldest son, junior at Stanford, currently DC doing a internship with Senator Schiff. So he's over there, having a great time. And my daughter Taylor, senior graduate, she took grades up to over a 4.0 now. I thank you guys for taking care of her literally because she had a tough time with this depression, anxiety, and everything. Thank you. Yes, bring strength to care of my little girl. Please, the bottom line is a 4.0 student there also. I wasn't planning to be here, but something happened, I made a comment, and it goes to the leadership, my expectation. There was a comment made online during your out travel meeting where I was called, what was said to me, it was really offensive, was that I had a quote, hard on for a council member in the Wichita district. And it's recorded, I can give you guys a copy and get a dictation or something, working on that. Don't believe my word. But it's like you're the president, and for you to come to our meeting and make that comment on, it's very hurtful.
I'm sorry, I didn't make that comment. That was live, you know who made that comment, it wasn't me. So if you want to provide me with the.
At this point, I'd like to.
I will be happy to apologize.
At this point, I will, at this point, excuse me, I will say, I'm confident that was you, but if I'm wrong, I mean, you know, hey, that was another long day too. So I will check with the recording and whatnot and get back to you. I hope it wasn't, because as you asked me that day, step down from my position, I would ask the same from you. You are a leader in this community. Kids, parents, everyone looks up to your leadership and direction. So I will come back board with that, let you know, and I don't know. I get up every morning and I look in the mirror and I'm happy to say I like what I see. Because I'm doing what creative we're here to do, and that's to help people and be a good person. So, am I afraid to give it a flag? Hell no. Cross me, let's go. So like I'm adamant about, we'll go for it, but especially for the kids. But thank you, Lori. I'll respectfully look into that. Thank you.
Indian policies and procedures. I've been out, I've been doing sport travel, so I haven't been in attendance for the last week or so. But I guess just one side note, I did want to say for some of the other teachers we had, we've got education, dropped off the cars to the grocery store for snacks for classrooms and kids. So checking with us. Sign out.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Let's have this board have any questions for Annalise?
Yes, thank you. Okay, that is your next.
I had a, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking that Mr. Anderson took over your.
He can take I have my own discussion.
Okay,
Okay. So I did want to revisit the ELP money and just bring it back to the front. It's over $900,000. We had in 2021-22, we had $278,193. We expended $150,044 that year, leaving us with a balance of $128,149. So we walked away with money. 22-23, we had allocation of $750,000, $664. We expended no money that year. So we have an unspent fund of $780,664. $980,018, $980,813. Are we, first off, did you know we had that money? That's my first question. You don't have to answer me, I'm just posing the question, because I would like you to look at
You say what, the ELOP is saying.
the ELOP, the Extended Learning Opportunities Program. So it's the same one we've been talking about all the year.
This is what it's all about.
So my question is to you, and you don't have to answer me, but did you know we had this money? And the second question I have is, if we know we have this money, who are we responsible for this money? And did you know that we had a possibility of getting it back? Like there was a time frame. So I think these are important questions for you to ask in the future. As a governing board, it's part of what I expect of my public funds to look like from you guys. So I'm just hoping that, I just throw that out there, keep that in mind for the future. Let's do it. Also talking about the COVID money. I'm hearing different amounts, $360,000, but I would like you to think about, as I understand it's one-time money. And then can you investigate and ask questions about why we didn't spend this money? And then can you also ask the administrators, were they ever consulted about the needs of their site and whether this money could be used to meet those needs? Because I feel like we all can agree that maybe perhaps we have a disconnect. I don't know if it's communication, I don't know if information is not trickling down, but as a governing board, if you know we have $360,000, and you're like, hey, did you talk to the administrators or did you talk to any staff? Did you try to do any kind of investigation? So when this comes in your lap in the future, I'm asking that you guys do ask some tough questions, just to try to get answers. And then the third thing I want to talk about was the fine that we're paying for having too many administrators per pupil ratio. I know, and I spoke to Jennifer about this, and she said it fell into my lap, which means that some of you on this board had to have known, and I hope you would have known, that that was there when Jennifer got here. And so my question is, who's responsible for sharing the information that we're gonna get a fine? And when I looked at the formula, it seemed like a very friendly formula to fill out. It only had like 8 cells, and it told you, sorry, but you have too many administrators per pupil, and this is what you're gonna pay. So what kind of safety are we gonna have in the future to show that we're never gonna repeat this again? If we add up all these amounts that we're talking about $1.5 million since 2021. That we are either forfeiting back to the state or paying in fines. I think that this $1.5 million is a missed opportunity that our students really missed out on. We did them a disservice by sending this money back in whatever form it's going back in. We did a disservice. So to me, it seems criminal, almost like a really gross misuse of public funds to give it to you and then for us to give it right back. I hope that as a board of trustees, you look into the management or mismanagement of how this situation happened in all 3 of these instances. And then our children just can't afford to have our business office run like this. And I'm not pointing fingers because I don't know how it's run, but as a governing board, we can be mindful of what's going on. We're going to have to start asking questions in your own investigation. I don't think it's fair to put it all on one person's lap. So in the future, I need you guys to really ask some questions, look into it. Why are we giving money back? Read through those financials. Thank you.
I think it's more of a thing, I don't think it should be in the future, I think it should be happening right now. For 1.4 million, that's ridiculous. And people need to take accountability. They should say next year or next time, or all more diligence. That's ridiculous. 1.4 million is a lot of money for them. They should know, you guys figure out soon what happened, and someone needs to say why. Well, then we need to hold them accountable, because that's our kid's money. And nobody should be comfortable with that.
But they don't even listen to you.
Well, then we gotta do something.
Thank you.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing us? Okay, are you kind of ashamed of what happened? As our governors to lose $1.4 million? I'm not blaming you, but if I found out that my school district that I would oversee, about $1.4 million. I would be kind of ashamed and embarrassed.
I am, it's kept me up at night, I can say that.
I appreciate what you said. Anybody else?
I think we all are.
Well, that's good to say.
You're not gonna be able to get her.
When I grew up with my kids at school and I'd say something wrong, I'd tell them, hey, I messed up. I said the wrong thing. And I'm a human and I'm not perfect and you're gonna see me mess up, but I'm gonna tell you when I mess up. And $1.4 million, that's a lot of money.
I think given that this is, that this information has come to us, that we do take it seriously, and we will try to figure out how this got by us.
Okay, well, one way I know when people are taking me seriously is when they look at me when I'm talking with them, when they're just talking to each other, kind of pretending they're not paying attention. I think that they're just trying to obfuscate and not pay attention, and I don't feel respected.
Mark, with all due respect, Mark provided all the information. There was something purposely omitted from your report back today. Spell this out. Community was reflected, and giving, also receiving that information. Well, and I have confirmation of that back to the sitting of the district office right now.
So then back.
And thank you all for coming, we'll adjourn at